What up? What up? Good to see everyone. I anticipate this being a hot live stream with everything going on in the market. Hope everyone is doing well and embracing the current volatility. I think things are actually looking a little better than many people are likely thinking. So we're going to talk about that on this live stream. I want to start off and just say thank you to everyone here early. Lucky Long, Fire Marshal Floor, CJD, FinTech Frontier. Guys, thank you so much. For anyone getting here early, would really appreciate you just taking a quick second to drop a like on the stream, retweet, whatever. It's really going to help more people see this live stream, get more people in here, and really start talking about what is happening in the market. Dave Nelson, good to see you. Linda, good to see you. Keith, I want to start off. Actually, we'll start off and look at XRP, but I want to go over a tweet thread that I just wrote, really breaking down what I think is happening in the market. I think when we look at the XRP price chart, it's going to kind of get rid of a lot of fears people are having right now. The chart actually looks shockingly good in comparison to what most people are probably thinking. So we're going to take a quick look at that, get into the tweet thread. Ed, good to see you. Sean, Kim, Keith. It's so funny. It's so funny. Like, you can tell how strong the cryptocurrency community really is, especially the XRP community, because I got more texts saying how excited people were and how like looking forward people were to buying the dip than I did people freaking out saying, I don't know what to do. Absolutely incredible. It's awesome to see. Cameron Smith, good to see you. Taylor, that damn carry trade. Yes, but I think this is actually critical in getting us to the long-term goal faster. And we're going to talk about exactly what I mean by that. I know, guys, it probably sounds crazy. How could I possibly be bullish with what just happened? Just give me a minute, and I'm sure I'll be able to make it all make sense for you guys. There's a couple very good-looking charts here, and I think people who are concerned right now are going to have their sentiment turned around pretty quickly. All right, so we'll start off and just take a look at the XRP price chart. What we can see is XRP, as predicted, is still within this symmetrical triangle. So that's the first piece of good news. So the damage to the XRP price chart definitely wasn't anything that's overly concerning. As you guys can very well see, XRP is still trading within this thing, got sucked right back up. And now we're still waiting for Judge Torres to ultimately issue that ruling. We're hoping that happens by the end of August. I think that's a very, very, very fair probability. I actually think it could happen this week. That was my original prediction, so we'll see how that plays out. But ultimately, XRP, right, is still well within this zone right here, where ultimately we're expecting that breakout. This line I put in here was the end of August. Technically, we could push this out to the end of September. I wouldn't really want to. I don't think it's going to take that long. But worst case scenario, what you can see is XRP still has plenty of time to recover in here, push back out the top, and ultimately get that moment of volatility when Judge Torres does make a ruling. So the XRP price chart, it looks nothing more than noise on here. Obviously, we would have loved to see XRP have enough momentum to break out here. It didn't, and it's probably actually good that it didn't, because ultimately this event was going to send us down either way. So XRP is just recovering from this event. This event has proven so far to be not that significant other than the initial liquidation. We had that big liquidation, but it didn't cause any cascading. No cascading is key. What we really didn't want to see was the ultimate cascading of something like this, where we just couldn't catch a bid and fell lower and lower and lower. This seems to me to be a pretty strong recovery, and I feel like we're more in a moment like this back here, where you had that wick eat it up, ultimately right before you pumped right back up to the original spot. So we'll see how that plays out. Ultimately, the XRP price chart is not giving me any reason for concern. We're actually higher than we were just a couple weeks ago when things were looking a lot more concerning. I thought things looked way more concerning here when we were breaking out the bottom of this thing. That was sketchy. I did get to purchase some XRP this morning. I did get my XRP buy-in. I didn't get the bottom. I never get the bottom. Don't ever expect to get the bottom. If you expect to get the bottom, you'll probably miss out. But I think I got somewhere on 45 cents, so I was pretty happy with that. Already up a little bit on that. And guys, if you just have been watching this chart, right, you haven't done poorly just buying XRP whenever it hits the bottom, right? Whenever XRP is kind of below this lower level, you have not done anything wrong scooping up some XRP. So whenever XRP comes down here, I just have a habit of, hey, that's when I buy. And when it goes up, I hold. I don't buy anymore. So this is what I call smart dollar cost averaging. The best way to invest in any market is to dollar cost average because it keeps your emotions out of it. And if we just zoom out real quick and take a look at what XRP, what I think it has the potential to do, if XRP does ultimately have that big parabolic moment as it breaks out of this symmetrical triangle and pushes up to those two-figure numbers, it's not going to matter where you bought within this entire pattern, right? Even XRP you had at $2, even that's going to be up massively. So I don't think over the long run, overthinking the DCA is something that's necessary. But if you can add a little bit of intelligence to the DCA, so rather than buying randomly, buying every single time XRP is at the low end of its trend, you just make your DCA even better. But like I said, that's absolutely not necessary. I think just DCAing into XRP at any given moment over this time period is likely going to treat you well. Because if we take a look back here, right, if you were DCAing on XRP back in 2017, and even if you were doing a terrible job DCAing, right, let's say you did a terrible job DCAing, and the only time you got XRP was when it was really high. So you're only buying XRP at 6 cents. You're only buying XRP at 3 cents. You're buying XRP at 2 cents, right? Even if that was where you were buying XRP, and we take a look at how you did over the long run, even with the worst DCA ever, well, you're probably still pretty happy when XRP is trading 1,000% higher than where you bought it at. So, like I said, I don't think it's going to require any kind of market genius to DCA into XRP over the long run and create some decent profits. But at the same exact time, right, if you can pick these bottom levels, that's not a bad thing to do. So that's why one of the main reasons I pay attention to charts like this is very easy for me to say, all right, if I just buy the bottom half of this chart, I'll probably be looking better than if I'm doing a normal DCA and I'm buying all throughout this thing. But over the long run, I don't think it matters. I think everyone's probably sitting in a very good scenario because of how early we are to XRP. So that's my initial thoughts on the XRP price chart. So long as XRP keeps recovering, which it is, I have virtually zero concerns. To me, a lot of what we saw doesn't have anything to do with XRP. If not, XRP is even more important and fundamentally critical than ever before. And the chart's telling us there really hasn't been any long-term damage. If we take a look at XRP to BTC as well, also a very interesting chart. This chart's about to go positive. This chart literally just went positive right in front of our eyes. So XRP to BTC is holding up remarkably well. It barely even sold off here. So this is another great sign of XRP's strength in comparison to the rest of the market. We still see XRP actually performing against Bitcoin. It just went green. This is another great sign that likely this market sell-off so far has been overblown. XRP is recovering nicely and actually looks like it could close the day with a larger or higher candle against Bitcoin. Another thing that I think a lot of people probably weren't expecting to see logging into this video, but if we take a look at where XRP sits on the Bitcoin ratio, we can see that it looks just as strong as it did the other day. So if we combine the two things we just talked about, right? We talked about the fact that XRP was still well within that symmetrical triangle pattern. We talked about how XRP is still performing very well in terms of the Bitcoin to XRP ratio, creating this strong bottom, and actually just recently going positive against Bitcoin. Those are all great signs there. Those are all great signs. So XRP is still hanging within that symmetrical triangle pattern. Looks like just noise on the short term. Meanwhile, the XRP to Bitcoin ratio is still sitting in a fairly good place here. And don't worry, guys, I will jump into Q&A. So I will jump into that in a minute. Really appreciate all you guys being here. We have 800 people in here already. Let's see if we can get the likes up. Let me see what we're at on likes right now. Only 71 likes, and we have over 300 people in here. So guys, take a quick second, just exit out of the live chat real quick, drop a like on the stream. It's going to be so helpful in getting new people in here. And guys, these are the moments, right? These are the moments when the money is really made. So we definitely want people to be paying attention to the stream right now. Make sure to do your part. Drop a quick like on the stream. It's super helpful. I want to quickly go over a tweet thread I put out earlier that I think is really going to summarize a lot of my thoughts around everything happening. So thank you guys for all the kind comments. Strong Mountain, Murdoch, Lucky, One-Eyed Willie. You guys are all incredible. Anonymous Pie. Thank you. You guys are all being here. I want to jump into exactly what I'm seeing in terms of the macro, how this is going to impact crypto. Then we'll jump into a couple more charts for interest rates and the dollar, and then we'll jump right into Q&A. And guys, I know normally we do all Q&A, so I really appreciate you guys sticking around for this early portion, but it's the most exciting time in the market in a while. We've had a very, very boring little stretch in the market. I know a lot of people are probably thinking, oh, this is not exciting at all. This sucks. Trust me. I think over the long term, this is going to be very exciting, and I think this is going to put a lot of things in perspective. Okay, so I tweeted out, central banks will soon have to solve the high rate debt financing issue. Rates will likely have to drop under 2% over time, creating a macro bull run. So right now, a lot of what we're seeing is high interest rates are causing pain to the economy. That's what we really saw take place this morning. Freak out over high interest rates. Governments are being forced to refinance their debt at high interest rates. So I'm saying, I think because governments are paying so much money on their interest right now because of high interest rates, they're likely going to put interest rates lower so that they have to pay less money on interest. Common sense, right? If you got to control the interest rate of your house, would you keep the interest rate of your house at 5%, or would you drop it to 2 to 1% over time? You'd probably drop it to 2 to 1%. I think the government's going to act the same way. There's more complexities to that, of course, but at a high level, that's what we're talking about. High interest rates have forced central banks to refinance their debts at steep costs. Expect rates to gradually drop to reverse this effect. The big picture, markets are caught in the middle of this macro adjustment. Geopolitical tensions might add more uncertainty and volatility. So geopolitical, we know that's an issue. We also know that high interest rates. These macro headwinds are usually hashed out and short-lived. Like in 2018 and 2016, we had the same exact high interest rate fears that caused massive plummets in the market. Ultimately, we V-bottomed out and we moved higher. Also, they do nothing to impact the long-term thesis of crypto. Low interest rates are better for the price appreciation of crypto, but the utility is still absolutely critical. So cryptocurrencies, right, remain stronger than ever despite what's happening. During these periods, asset liquidations occur as correlations converge, but they often reverse quickly once liquidity returns. We are actually already seeing that happen right now. This looks like a rough reset. According to the Everything Code framework, this is a prime opportunity to add to positions before liquidity flows back in. Crypto fundamentals have never been stronger, and mass adoption is not stopping. We need to determine if this event is nearly over or there's another leg down. The Middle East situation might influence this. This shakeout is likely resetting, retesting, and re-upping or getting rid of leverage, paving the path for strong upside. The market's recent stumble is a bruise, not a fatal blow. Policy response will take time, but a weaker dollar, lower interest rates will likely allow the Fed to cut and allow the bull case to remain intact moving forward. We are in a zone of maximum fear. Hold on tight and have a plan that fits your risk tolerance and time horizon. This is the end of the COVID shock era. As we move past it, markets will stabilize and grow. So generally what I'm saying there is the Federal Reserve has caused a lot of damage to markets because of their interest rate policy, right? That's essentially what's happening right now. There's other fears around Iran. There's other fears around the Middle East. There's fears in general, but ultimately the Federal Reserve's policy is really what's causing this. But the good news is this is likely an indication that they're going to have to pivot soon. The dollar is already telling us that it thinks a pivot's coming. We can see right here that the dollar is weakening right now, despite the market sell-off. The dollar is coming down because what the market knows is interest rates are not sustainable at the 5% level. They'll have to come down to 2%. As the interest rates come down from 5% to 2%, people are going to get out of dollars because there's no point in holding them. That's going to cause the dollar likely to come down below 100 and create a macro bull run as it flows back into cryptocurrencies. So at a high level, that's what I'm watching on the macro. That's what I'm watching in terms of interest rates. That's what I'm watching in terms of what is going to come around the corner. Rogers had just sold my second card. Time to fill up the bags. Fox Business said markets look at 6 cuts by January 25th. Yeah, it looks like cuts are more certain than ever. This is the thing that is going to break the camel's back. There's no way we're going to keep rates high now. There's no way we're going to keep rates high now. It's absolutely impossible, and that's going to be the thing that I believe ultimately that's a big reason why XRP in the market's recovering so nicely. Like, look at this wick. This wick is almost half gone. In fact, XRP from the bottom is already up close to 14%. That's the market saying, hey, yeah, we're close to something bad, but we think we can get away with it. Very, very good sign there. All right, since we got through all of that, I'm going to move this stream over to members only. Obviously, at a time like this, I want to give them priority to ask anything they deem fit. So we'll move that over to members only and really appreciate you guys all for being here. I know it's been a crazy morning. And yeah, I'm glad I could be here to navigate with you guys. And we have such a strong community that understands that what we're watching right now, right, really has to do with macro, really has to do with interest rates, and has a lot less to do with XRP itself. Crypto Man says we're going to test new lows. I don't know if we're going to test new lows. I don't actually think we're going to see new lows. Oh, Murdoch. I appreciate the proposal, but I cannot do that. Let's see what else we got. Dave Nelson, good to see you, man. Oh, what RPM say? I was thinking the same as RM. RM. All right, let's see what else we got here. Let's see what else we got here. I haven't seen too many people. I haven't seen too many people overly concerned with what's happening. A lot of the doomers are kind of claiming, oh, this is it. This is where everything falls apart. Guys, I don't know. I think it's highly likely we pivot right out of here. And this was nothing more than a small little blip on the radar. It doesn't seem like anything's actually broken with the system. It doesn't seem like anything is actually broken to the system. It seems like the system so far is remaining strong, and we're really just trying to pivot off this low. Seemed like a lot of fear this morning, but ultimately we're kind of shaken out of it. Gold and silver recovering. Gold back to... Let me take a look at gold. Yep, gold's actually looking like it's green now on the day. Incredible. Let's take a look at BTC. BTC, crypto. BTC back above $1 trillion. That's good to see, and it's moving up quickly. BTC looks like it's moving up quickly. This is a big capitulative bottom. I would not be surprised if Bitcoin made a big move back up here over the course of the rest of the day, because nothing's actually falling apart, right? A lot of the fear was that everything was going to fall apart. Nothing's really falling apart right now, which is very good. Looks like XRP to BTC is also strengthening. So XRP is continuing to make moves against Bitcoin. Another great sign for XRP, and proving that XRP really has pretty much bottomed here. So all very good signs in terms of the chart. To me, it just seems like a lot of macro fears. There's a lot of stress in Japan that kind of got through to the U.S. market, but it looks like for the most part, this really has been a buying opportunity. The printing machine is still being warmed up. I think it's September. Yeah, Jake was all over this. Jake was talking about this being an issue for months now. He was absolutely all over this. Now, it's going to be interesting to see the systemic impact of what we're seeing. Is this going to continue to spiral out of control, or is the Federal Reserve going to step in and backstop this? This is where me and Jake disagree a little bit. I think Jake thinks this is going to be a bit more systemic. I think the Federal Reserve will step in before it does get systemic. But either way, the cool thing about both me and Jake's thesis is we both ultimately think that crypto assets are going to benefit big from this over the long run. So whether things get a little worse before they get better, or things get better in the interim, we both ultimately see this going in the way of the cryptocurrency industry, where we recover from this in a very strong way. And as you can see, XRP almost back up above 50 cents. This is a huge recovery as we speak. I mean, to see XRP already trading above these levels is fantastic. And once again, is showing that a lot of the fear we saw really didn't have anything to do with the cryptocurrency market. And Annalisa Torres could give us a lot of much needed gas. And look, I do still think that decision could happen as early as this week. That was my prediction. I don't have any interesting I don't have any interesting inside information around that happening, but I do think it's possible. Let's see what else we got. Will the Fed do an emergency meeting? No, I don't think so. Um, I don't think there's going to be an emergency meeting, and I'll get into exactly why in a second. I'm just making sure I'm not missing out on any news. It looks like I am all caught up. I'm making sure I don't say no emergency meeting as the Federal Reserve announces there's going to be an emergency meeting. No, I don't think there's going to be an emergency meeting. I think so far, a lot of what we saw was fear around something that could happen without anything actually happening. So I don't think there's going to be an emergency meeting. I think the Federal Reserve is going to cut aggressively in September. I think they could actually be doing a 50 basis point hike. So not an emergency meeting, but still an aggressively dovish meeting when we get there. Guys, XRP is actually already pretty close to being exactly where it was before this big liquidation. So it's already recovered close to 15% on the day. If it can do another 10% over this next week, we're going to be right back to essentially where we started, and this entire thing is going to be washed away, which tells me that the market is not very concerned about anything we're seeing. Hopefully not till I sell the car. Yeah, that's the thing. That's the funny thing, right? Like a lot of people in here, which is awesome, are more like, hey, why is this dip already over? I wish I had more time to buy the bottom. And me personally, yeah, I kind of wish I had more time to buy the bottom as well, because as soon as I actually figured out what was going on, it was kind of like, oh, the bottom is kind of in, right? It's kind of like, oh, it's over. But like I said before, does that mean I think that you missed out on any opportunity? No, guys. I think if you're buying anywhere within this band over the long term, right, you've likely done very well. You don't have to buy the tip of the bottom to get a good accumulation point. It's just not what has to happen. You could have bought. I'll just keep it at that. You don't have to buy every bottom to still have a great accumulation point. I think right now is a way better time to be buying here. And guys, I was optimistic here about XRP possibly breaking out. And someone still told me, hey, do you think I should buy here? And I said, no. Like on this live stream, some of you probably remember, I said, yeah, you can buy here as long as you understand it is very possible we come back down here and retest this bottom range. So if you're going to be upset about XRP going down from here, don't buy here and wait. I guarantee you anyone, though, who wanted to buy here likely wasn't buying at the lows. It's a different mentality. I didn't even get a chance to take a look at Flare this morning. XRP is almost back to 51 cents. I would love to go over to Fiat Leak in a minute and watch it there. Want to take a quick look at Flare. Okay, yeah, Flare had a big capitulation as well. This could mark that bottom for Flare that we've been waiting for. We've been waiting a very long time for Flare to put in some kind of big bottom and pull out. Looks similar to what happened here with the big candle got wicked back up. If we can turn this candle green and kind of create some kind of bottom here, that would make me pretty optimistic. I would start buying Flare once we created some kind of sustainable bottom. So once we got some green candles in here, maybe a couple green candles in a row, that's when I would start adding to Flare. In terms of Flare versus XRP, Flare is just in a much more succinct downturn than XRP. XRP has really been in a long-term uptrend that's been very, very powerful. So I'm less worried about XRP being at a bottom. To me, I know XRP is at a bottom, where something like Flare, I'm not so sure. Still love Flare. I think Flare is going to do great over the long run, but I just want to be clear in terms of my priority on accumulation, definitely XRP, alongside with the fact that XRP has a big catalyst around the corner, being the end of the Ripple SEC case. Flare also has big catalysts coming, but I don't know if they're as big as the Ripple SEC case ending. So couple points there around Flare and XRP and why my priority is currently with XRP. If XRP ultimately does take off and starts pushing towards the dollar mark or some of these higher prices, that's going to be the time in which I probably focus a bit more on Flare. As I see it right now, there's not going to be a lot of opportunity for the rest of my lifetime to accumulate cheap XRP. I think I'll have a lot more time in the future to accumulate cheap Flare. Guys, that's another thing I quickly want to talk about. Does Coinbase accept Ireland? Mark Smithson, that is a fantastic question. That is a fantastic question. And really appreciate you guys and your ability to have a sense of humor in times like this. It's one of the reasons why I absolutely love you guys so much. The morale here is incredible. I know these aren't the most fun times in the world. You guys are absolutely awesome. And I think when we get through these times, it's going to make looking back on it so much greater. Roger, I want to go back and thank you for the donation, $10. Said just sold my second car. Time to fill up my bags. Fox Business said the market was looking six cuts by July, 6 cuts by Jan 2025. Yes, that's awesome and appreciate that. XRP still recovering here. Things look pretty good on the XRP timescale. Almost got rid of this entire red candle, and we're well within this thing, right? We want to see XRP now show a little bit of strength over the next couple of days, retest this top line, and then hopefully we get that big moment of volatility when Judge Torres slams the hammer on the SEC and ends the ongoing Ripple SEC case. I will say again, I predicted that would happen at the end of this week. My predictions so far in terms of this case ending have been wrong every single time, like anyone else's, but this was the first prediction I put out there in a while, so it'll be interesting to see. Let's see what else we got. I want to check the news real quick. Yeah, everything I'm seeing is like very, very positive. Very positive. It's funny too, like the crypto market is like so unshaken. Like all the traditional stock guys are the ones like kind of freaking out right now, saying what's happening. Things are going to crap. And it's a lot of the crypto people that are kind of just saying, wow, this is like par for the course. We're used to this. So let's see. We want to see XR. I would love to see XRP get back above 50 cents. That will be our watch moment right now. XRP to get back 50 cents. We'll throw it over to a shorter time scale. And we do have a little bit of Ripple X news to get into, so I'll cover that real quick. Ripple X says, attention developers were planning to launch a testnet reset on August 19th. So it looks like Ripple is launching a testnet reset, and they're going to hopefully be improving the scalability of the XRP testnet. I know that's not massive news. Still interesting, though. Let's see. Let's check out the news, see if anything interesting is going on here. What do one eye say? Just sold my grandma's gold tooth for XRP. This better pump because I have to pay her back. Oh, that's funny. I saw someone on the news saying the Fed should drop 75 basis points. Yeah, Defin, I don't think they'll go 75, but I think they'll go 50. It would be interesting if they did go 75. Bond markets are pricing in a 60% chance of an emergency interest rate cut within 1 week. Yeah, I'll tell you why I don't think there's going to be an emergency rate cut, Roger. And hopefully I can explain this well because it's a little complex. One of the biggest issues right now in terms of the interest rate market in cutting interest rates right now is that would actually increase the sell-off in Japan. And Japan's having some of the biggest issues right now. If we did cut interest rates here in the United States, it would likely put Japan in a situation where they were forced to cut and Japan just raised because of issues they were having with negative interest rates. So it could resend Japan negative if we cut. That might be an issue. That's one of the reasons I don't think it's going to be an emergency cut, but we could see it. If we saw an emergency rate cut, just to be clear, if we saw an emergency rate cut, we would see the markets absolutely moon. We would see the markets absolutely moon, I think. A lot of people, I think, have this wrong. A lot of people are saying a rate cut is bearish. I think the market would respond very favorably. I just don't necessarily think the Federal Reserve is going to do it. So we'll see how that plays out. So adding more liquidity is the solution, or how do they fix this? So The long-term fix is something that I cannot speculate on. The long-term fix, I have no idea what they're going to do. The short-term fix is literally just to cut rates. High interest rates are what's causing a lot of these issues. High interest rates are what is essentially clamped down on the economy and is what's creating this fear. The same exact thing happened in 2018. So in 2018, it was called the taper tantrum. And we could see the effects on the NASDAQ. And of course, the NASDAQ is not going to come up on here. So let me pull up trading view right here. What the heck? What is up with these charts, man? There we go. So back in 2018, 2019, we had a very similar event. We had a massive sell-off in the NASDAQ because of fears around high interest rates. Essentially, people were worried about the velocity of money. Everyone wasn't investing money. It was all sticking in treasuries, and that caused a big sell-off. Ultimately, the Fed came in, assured that interest rates would be going down soon, and the market rebounded, V bottomed out of there, shot right back out. I think we're going to see the same thing here. And it's already happening. Take a look at this green candle. We've already had the start of the V bottom, and I think it's very likely that by the end of August, early September, we can already be moving up out of here. And the same exact way it happened before, I think we're going to have that same assurance that the Federal Reserve will step in and fix a lot of these issues. And as you can see, this would really just be par for the course. Doesn't seem like anything we've seen, in my opinion, has really done too much damage. We did have that sell-off, but it's nothing like we saw in 2021 where we had this huge correction, right? This correction took us down 40%. This was more of a one-time circuit breaker, weird phenomenon in which the price just ripped down and is now recovering pretty rapidly. Drunk Shorts, thank you so much. I think 50 to 75 point emergency and then 50 to 75 in September. Yeah, Fire Dog, it's possible. I don't think we're going to see it, but it's possible. Love that you know the history. Yeah. And I spent a lot of time when I first got started really trying to learn as much history as possible. What I did was I actually went back and watched all the old YouTube videos from everyone's channels back from 2016, I think, or 2017, whenever fintech YouTube really started, and just tried to better understand the fears people had at the time to help me better understand how I could apply that knowledge to the future to create a better idea of what's happening. Let me take a look at the market real quick and make sure I'm not missing anything. Here's another very interesting stat, guys. There's another very interesting stat. A record $6.1 trillion in cash is sitting on the sideline. This is what I talk about when I say that low interest rates is going to cause a lot of capital flow back in. 6.1 trillion sitting on the sideline waiting to buy the dip. Will Japan sell treasuries? If they do, what is the effect on crypto? Great question. If Japan does sell treasuries, it all depends the amount in which they sell. If we're talking about large scale selling, them selling treasuries is likely going to put pressure on interest rates. I think ultimately the Federal Reserve would have to force interest rates down to account for that. So it's a little bit of a multi-pronged thing. It's really hard to say exactly how it would directly impact crypto. But give me a second to think on that a little more. Just off the top of my head, that's a tough question to answer. But let me throw on Fiat Leak real quick, and let me think how to better answer that question. Oh, it looks like we're about to close above 50 cents as well. So let me get that up on the chart. We're at 44993. Yeah, so it's a little bit of a mix. It's definitely a little bit of a mix on the treasury side of things. If Japan sold treasuries, it would weaken the dollar, which could ultimately be good for cryptocurrencies, but uh it might also indicate that there's financial instability. Um I think once again, this would actually be solved by lower rates. So I think Japan selling treasuries would be good for crypto over the long run and would actually, over the long term, push to lower rates. But it's hard to say for sure because whenever you try to forecast anything like a big event like that happening, like 10 things happen that no one thought were going to happen. So it's a tough prediction. Ultimately, Japan selling out of treasuries would ultimately probably be short-term bearish, long-term good for crypto. A lot of BTC YouTubers and XRP hater channels are panicking. What do you mean, flavor.com? 23 million XRP was just purchased on Binance and sent to an unknown wallet. Yeah, that is buying the dip. Wow. Talk about buying the dip. Yep, that's why it's always good to have dry powder. Chadwick, thank you so much for the donation. XRP is recovering nicely, only down 6% now since this entire thing happened. With how much crypto can move, 6% is a big old nothing burger in the grand scheme of things. Great to see XRP recovering, good volume coming in. It looks like to me we're really reversing out of most of the worst of what we had. Roger, appreciate that question, though. That was a good one. That was a really good question. Whenever I need to take a moment and think about something, is a good question. Just checking markets real quick, guys, and making sure I don't miss out on anything. If anyone has any other questions, make sure to keep them coming. Just want to make sure I'm up to date on everything happening, so I don't accidentally give you guys any outdated or late information. But so far, it just seems like we're watching the recovery at the moment. Like I've said multiple times on the stream, I don't anticipate this being any long-term negative. I think it's actually going to end up being a positive. Haven't taken a look at the VIX. Let's pull up the VIX and take a look at what's going on there. Obviously, the VIX went parabolic, and I want to give you guys a bit of a trading strategy as well. Oh, there we go, above 50 cents. There we go. XRP back above 50 cents. Incredible, incredible, incredible. The fundamentals of XRP is everything. If you remember, if you remember that, there is no fear. Appreciate that, Roger. What'd Ed say? Yeah, I saw that. I just saw that. Let me jump into that. Was there news about JP Morgan accepting XRP for payments? That's a great question. But guys, take a look at this real quick. Real quick. Remember I talked about in 2018, we had a very similar fear around interest rates? Take a look at this. What do you see here? And I know it's kind of hard to see, but do you see this big green wick? Here, I'll outline it. The big green wick is right here. This is the VIX. This is a index that shows massive volatility in the market. And what you can see is the last couple times the VIX went parabolic was 2008, COVID. This is 2018 during that last interest rate scare. And now 2024 during another interest rate scare. But what do you see? Back in 2018, we're in a very similar situation with the interest rate scare. We had the VIX go screaming upward to around 50, ultimately to crash back down, almost completely go away, and fears were gone. Take a look at this. We're almost seeing the exact same thing happen. We had the VIX absolutely skyrocket up to 65, pull back, I wouldn't be surprised if the VIX capitulates pretty quickly and comes back down to normal levels. Here's a quick strategy, by the way, as well. If anyone is involved in the equity market, what you can do is you can draw a line on the VIX, right? Take this line on the VIX, and what we can see is if you buy the VIX if you can ever purchase the VIX under $12, you're likely going to be able to sell the VIX at a later time period at a much higher price. And when you sell the VIX at the higher price, you can use the proceeds from selling the VIX to actually reinvest into equities as well as cryptocurrencies. So what we can see right there is if you bought the VIX and moved the VIX into something like XRP, you would have had a 6x on your money that you could ultimately deploy into XRP. So just something to consider there. If you hold on to the VIX, see if you can get it low, you could have gotten the VIX. You could have gotten the VIX at the beginning of July at about $12. If you sold the VIX this morning to reinvest that money, you could have sold close to $60 to then reinvest into stocks and crypto that are down. Just a strategy. That's a great question. And Ed, I will get to that in a second. Appreciate you. Hey, Mickle, if the judge came out today and ruled with the market being in the state it is right now, would that hurt the momentum? Yeah, I would say it would hurt the momentum slightly. I think ultimately the market's already recovering pretty nicely right now. So if the market kept on recovering, I wouldn't be too worried. Ultimately, it would be better if this happened towards the end of the week when the recovery was a little bit more sustained. So as we talked about earlier, and if we take a look at the price of, I don't have it up. Hold on, let me just pull it up real quick. Yeah, so we have XRP at 49 right now. If we could get XRP to move over the next 3 to 4 days, move more towards 55 cents or even up to 58 cents towards the top of this range, and then Judge Torres makes her ruling, that would be ideal. Let me see if I can do some quick research on this JP Morgan XRP news and see what I come up with there. Look at that volume coming in, though. Incredible. Can someone tag me in the JP Morgan news if anyone has seen it? I'm not finding anything, and I would say as of now, I'm skeptical. I'm very skeptical at the moment. The only news I see is by Crypto News Flash, and that has not been a reputable source. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not thinking it's true. I'm thinking the JP Morgan XRP news is not true. I will come back and say if I'm wrong there, though. Would love to be wrong. That's one of those things I'm like, please be wrong, but I don't know. I don't think that's true. Yeah, I'm going to say not true. Yeah, this is definitely not true. This is definitely not true. Um, don't want to crush anyone's hopes around it, but I'm fairly confident it's not true. Gold molar. What's Fire Dog say? Yeah, Fire Dog, you were calling this dip. You were absolutely calling this dip. Hey, man, the dip's not over as far as I'm concerned. Like, I still don't think you're getting a bad price at all. And typically, what we see, just so people know, let me go down to a shorter time frame real quick. Nope, not 30 seconds. That's a little much. Let's go down to the hour time frame. A lot of the times with these dips, the price will actually come back down and then pull back up. So I don't think the opportunities are over, but I think the worst is past. I think the bottom is in. I will go as far as to say the bottom is in, but I think there will still be opportunities. India using XRP for oil payments to UAE. Um, that is, I do not think that's true, but I will double check for you, Murdoch. Um, yeah, guys, I'll say this real quick. This account right here, Crypto News Flash, if you see a report from Crypto News Flash, assume it's fake. Assume it's fake. Murdoch, from what I'm seeing right now, I do not think that's true. But if anything changes on that front, I will let you know. Anything from Crypto News Flash, I assume is fake. Dave Nelson said, I managed to buy some at 46 cents, going to be on bread and water until the end of the month. I feel that, Dave. I feel that. I purchased 2 this morning, and I don't think I'm done either. I'll be buying more later this afternoon. I would have liked to buy it all this morning. Got pretty busy with stuff. Wanted to monitor the reaction, but I'm not. I'm not fearful. Sorry, guys. Not sure what happened there. I think I'm back. I had like a quick little internet flash. Looks like we're back. Testing. We good? I think we are. All right. I sent a text to my buddy that ETH was going to 22 when it was around 27, 28. And by the time I sent the text 10 minutes later, he texted me saying it hit 21. That's crazy. Black Swan while talking Black Swans. Taylor, exactly. Oh, would you just tag me in on X? I'll check it out. Oh, very interesting. All right, so this is from DFIN. So it looks like this has been the XRP correction he's been forecasting. This is the breakout for XRP against BTC. What is this? XRP against Ethereum. Looks like it's already breaking out. And then this is kind of the wave he's expecting. He's been spot on. Awesome. DFIN. That's great. Yeah, this is a kind of TI I don't follow as much, but I'll give this guy a follow to really keep track with him. I haven't seen his past guesses. Did he call the XRP pullback? Crypto Insight. Yeah, no, that's interesting. Yeah, so it looks like he's looking for a $10 to $15 XRP. So standard, though. Everyone wants a $10 to $15 XRP. It's like, what's your XRP price? 10, 15 bucks. It's like everyone says that. Maybe everyone will end up being right. I don't know. It seems like there's too much consensus around there for me to feel comfortable. It's like, it seems like, oh, you don't know what to say? Just say $10 to $15. Maybe there's more to it. Maybe there's something I'm missing there. Maybe there's some kind of trend or chart that people pay attention to that makes them think that. But I always thought it was funny that people are always like 10 to 15 bucks. Oh, he did call the dip. That's great. It's always nice when people actually call the dip and don't just go at it retroactively and say, oh, look, there's the dip I've been saying. We've been calling this dip for the past year. So now that it happened, I'll say I called it. Oh, we got Rector getting active. Also, do you think moving out of Matic into ETH was a smart move? Less risk? Matic and ETH are tough. I think they both do well over the long term. First of all, really appreciate the donation. Credible Bull. Let me check out him. I would say I generally feel better in ETH than Matic, but I think they're both decent. I don't know. The more I focus on crypto, the more I just feel like XRP is really the one that I feel by far the most confident in. Oh yeah, look at this. Yep, Credible Bull definitely called this. He has a chart right here. This is from a couple of weeks ago. Called for the pullback down to the low 40s. ultimately for XRP to take off since then. So this seems to be kind of like the last move people were expecting. And I talked about this in the video last night, to be honest. It's not something I was really forecasting at all, but what we talked about is if you just take a look at this XRP to XRP chart, right after we had that initial big capitulation out of the triangle, we came back up to the top. All right, so we had this big capitulation out of the triangle, came back to the top. Ultimately, we had one last tap down before taking off. If you take a look at the XRP price chart previously, we can see that we actually almost did the same exact thing. Look at this. We fell through. We tapped the top, ultimately to hit the bottom before taking back off. So I find it interesting that Credible Bull is kind of forecasting the same thing. And this is not a chart I've ever watched, right? Came back down here, tap the top, fall back down, move out. And that's exactly what happened. We came up here, fell down, and now we're just waiting for that big expansion up to the dollar region. One Eye Willie said he's shocked that the price of XRP is holding on. Taylor says XRP is the digital oil for the new financial system. Carry trade blowing up didn't change that. Spot on, Taylor. Absolutely spot on. Really appreciate your insight on a daily basis here. It's absolutely awesome to see some of your perspectives, and I could not agree with that one more. So one of the things I tried to hammer home since the start here, nothing changes. Nothing changes on the fundamentals, even though there's obviously a lot of macro concern flying around right now. Checking the market real quick. What's Bangladesh? I'm probably going to get crap for this. Where? Oh, India. Okay. So it looks like a couple high-level people at Ripple have left India saying that they're more bullish than ever before when it comes to XRP in the country. So that is interesting. Okay. This is kind of sneaking through right now. Let me just check something real quick. Yeah. So I think I slaughtered the name. Bengaluru. How far off am I, Murdoch? How much did I slaughter that? All right, I'll look up the pronunciation. Bangalore. All right, Bangalore looks like Ripple's team just left there and are coming out extremely optimistic on Ripple in India. So that's very exciting. Cool, cool, cool. Love to see that. Just bought more right now after you cover Credible Bull's post. Isn't it crazy to see some people just like their charts just tell them it's going to happen, and then they see like, oh, there we go, time to buy. What a great call. Congrats to him, man. It's not the way I do technical analysis. It's not the way I do charts. I'm more focused on fundamentals and just make sure the charts are still telling us things are in line. It's a different way of looking at it, but congrats to him, man. I give props to anyone who can make a call like that, especially when you can look back and actually make sure their call was right. Incredible. What I've noticed before in the past with a lot of the TA guys who like only do TA is they just kind of put out a million different charts and then eventually one of them ends up being right. But I think that's a great example of just having the call correct from the start. So shout out to him. Watch his video with the Bearable Bull about crypto in general. Okay, interesting. It's a good video, worth a watch. Yeah, so the theory behind no emergency rate cuts is that the pain is needed. The pain is needed to get rid of inflation. So that's a big theory behind why there won't be emergency rate cuts. A lot of people think that we absolutely need the pain to get rid of inflation. So that's a very interesting reason why you might say there won't be rate cuts. Love me some XRP and HBAR. Crypto Clay, I agree with you. I agree with you, Crypto Clay. It's a great combo. Let's take a look at XRP real quick. 48 cents. Looks like generally the recovery is going well. It looks like generally the markets are really turning around. Let me check the stock market real quick. Yeah, it seems like most of the fear has kind of got washed away. Obviously, we're still down on the day. Obviously, it wasn't pretty, but all things considered, to see us all the way up 15% on where we landed and XRP still within the symmetrical triangle leaves me relatively not having a lot of fears long term. The other thing I want to quickly point out, guys, I forgot to talk about this earlier, is just interest rates coming down. I wanted to show you this real quick. One second. One, this is the price of oil right now. What you can see is the price of oil right now is plummeting. This is, no, I'm sorry. No, this is the break even for inflation. The break even for inflation is plummeting right now. This is expectations. Expectations are now below 2%. This is another reason why the Federal Reserve would cut rates. And what we can see right here is that the market is already pricing in that the Federal Reserve is going to have to cut. So the Federal Reserve has rates at about 5.33. The market is saying that it believes the rate is more at 5%. So the market is pricing in 5%, despite that the Federal Reserve is trying to hold at 5.33. I think this is going to fall off a cliff. Notice right here, this blue line is where the market sees rates going. So the market saw rates going up. Eventually, the Federal Reserve followed. Now the market is seeing rates going down. I think likely the Federal Reserve is going to have to follow. This is all going to clean up the mess we're in right now. It seems right now we're at that tipping point. Are we going to go into a deeper portion of the mess where things are going to get ugly? Or are we going to be in a position where we're able to save face at the last minute? I think the market right now is telling us we're going to save face. The volatility index is coming down. Cryptocurrencies are recovering. I think we're kind of teetering on the verge of something bad happening, but I'm still under the impression we're going to avoid it. We're likely going to know in the next couple of days what the market thinks. The market continues to pull upward. If we continue to see XRP moving off this bottom, I think the market's saying, hey, this isn't a big deal. I think a lot of it was just a short-term freak out. We'll see how things play out. Guys, with that said, I'm going to end it here. Guys, thank you so much for coming. Guys, you guys were absolutely incredible today, and I appreciate Firedog, you for the 2 donations today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Chadwick for 2 gifted memberships, and Roger for the donation as well. Guys, thank you so much for being so incredible today. I understand days like today are not easy. They're not fun. There's a lot going on. There's a lot to worry about. But ultimately, I think this is nothing more than just noise. Taking a look at the long-term price charts, we have seen things way, way, way worse than this. Yes, this was a lot of volatility in a short time, but it looks like a lot of that volatility is really getting sucked back up. And with the preface of positive price action from Judge Torres' ruling coming up around the corner, it seems like to me a lot of what we're watching is nothing more than short-term noise for what eventually is still cryptocurrency mass adoption right around the corner. Guys, thank you so much for coming. Thank you for being here. You guys are all incredible. And for now, Nickel out.